Today's one of the days where I really enjoy being in the shop because I get to watch Greg work and I can kind of relax. Those are the best kind of days. Because screw helping him. What does he do for me? Nothing. Not a damn thing. They might be over there, dude, in my bag. They should be in my bag. He's looking for a pair of pliers. But, yeah, they should be in that little black bag. If it's there. If it's not there.
Found the wannabes.
Just use the wannabes for now.
Good enough for government.
I was gonna say, they're probably in my little black bag. Yeah, I don't know where it's at. It's somewhere.
Yeah.
But what are you doing, Greg? What you got here? Is this the Grand National motor?
Yeah. 3.8 liter.
Yeah.
No.
We're working on the Typhoon today. And Greg's actually kind of gone after it already. Got fan shroud out, got the fan off, and we're going to be removing the radiator. We're going to be removing the remote oil filter system on these trucks. That's just a pain in the ass. We're going to be changing out the trans cooler as well to an external trans cooler.
External trans.
What else you got?
Lower heat exchanger.
There you go.
Cooler pump. Relocated intercooler hoses.
All right.
Electric fans.
We're removing a lot of this metal hose that comes on these Typhoons and Cyclones. We're changing out the alternator. Got a lot.
Maybe some stuff in the front.
Right. Which we're probably not all going to be done today, but we're going to be working on it some. And
fuel injectors.
Oh yeah, injectors. Got a little turbo tweak kit as well. Chip, not kit.
A distributor, plugs, wires.
Doing a lot. Yeah. So we're gonna have to try to repair this guy here too, because the little nipple came off the side of that. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Other than that, yeah, it's time to work on the Typhoon because Radwood's coming up. But bigger than that, this truck's been off the road for 6 years.
Probably. No, 2021.
2021. Okay, 2021. It's been off the road since 2021, so maybe not as long as we thought it was. But it needs some attention. We want to go to Radwood. We want to kind of bring it back to the big car show here, indoor car show here that happens on Thanksgiving, which is called Houston Autorama, which is the last time you guys probably saw this thing.
Yeah, that was really when it was on the road last.
Yeah.
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're going to be working on that. In the meantime, I do have parts for the Nova as well, so I may be coming over here and wrenching on this. So we got a little bit of a mixed bag today. And I got something to put on the Dakota. I got a couple things to put on the Dakota. Main thing is I'm going to be putting a fuel pressure sensor in like I used to have. But I got to get a tool to do that. So right now, we're just going to be working on trying to get this radiator out of here. And Greg's kind of struggling with it because of the trans lines.
Lower trans lines.
Lower trans lines not wanting to come out. Can we pull this off? Or
all the intercooler stuff is in the way. The steering box is in the way.
Oh, that's good. That's super helpful. Okay, well, we're going to try to...
In normal circumstances, that whole bottom section wouldn't exist because there's no intercooler. But since this one's boosted.
Does this one have a turbo or something?
Yeah. A little baby guy.
Right.
Little baby boy.
There you go. Little baby guy.
You should put like a
28 millimeter turbo over there, or whatever you call
20G,
it. 20G.
25G.
Which is a bolt-on. So, and just in case you guys don't know, maybe you haven't been with the channel long enough. This is Greg's 93 GMC Typhoon. If you don't know what a Typhoon is, you probably should. 3 vehicles were made in the early 90s. Then GMC Cyclone, which you may have heard of that. The Typhoon, which is right here. They made it in 91 and 92 and 93. And then they made this guy, which we actually have one too, which is a 92 GMC Sonoma GT. This guy is all the looks and none of the go. This guy is go and looks and leather interior and the whole 9 yards. That's one big difference between the Typhoon and the Cyclones is it actually has leather bucket seats. The leather interior in here in general, it's the Cyclones just have cloth seats. And they were made from 92 and 93. This is the 93. This is apple red on apple red. One of how many?
77.
77 in this color. So pretty rare bird. Not souped up, nor are we going to soup it up. These things are very temperamental. You start messing with them aftermarket wise, they're not happy. They start having issues. They're kind of like a Grand National. Like once you start really getting into extra boost and things like that, it just messes it up. But we are going to be putting a turbo chip in it. That's also going to allow Greg to run E85, which is going to allow it to run a little better. But the chip in it is actually just to kind of clean up the map and everything else on it to make it run a little bit better. It's been off the road for a while, and then one of the reasons is why is because we sent these, obviously it's missing something right here, and this fender has rust issues, and this as well. We had sent pieces of cladding because this stuff is right here referred to as cladding. You call this cladding when you talk about these trucks. They had broken the tabs off that mount it to the fenders, and guess what? It took us 2 years to get them back fixed. So that sucked. They're back, they're fixed, they look good, but it took a long time. So we're real happy about that. But this truck has sat for too long because of that, and now we're at the point in time where it's like, let's go through it, let's get it back up and reliable. So that's what Greg's doing now. We also have to fix the air conditioning on it, which we've tried to fix twice, very unsuccessfully. We've blown up.
Second one was more catastrophic.
Yeah, we've blown up 2 AC compressors. We're not.
We don't know what we're doing.
Our record's not great. We don't know what we're doing, but we do have a brand new one on it now that has oil in it. But we've got to change out, clean out the evap core, change out the dryer. We still got some stuff to do. So there's a lot to tear down. But I think today we're going to try to focus on getting this radiator out, which Greg is kind of wrestling with now. And unfortunately, I'm sorry guys, we don't have any big tips on this one. If you have a Typhoon or a Cyclone, just take your time. Try not to force anything. Loosen up as much stuff as you can. The real estate in here is not fantastic. There's just not a lot of room for everything, and if you get in too much of a hurry, you break stuff. So you cannot be in a hurry on these trucks. Even on that truck is the same way. Like if you get in a hurry, you break things. So take your time. But once we get this radiator out, we'll look into the changing out the intercooler, the front mount intercooler, the water to air intercooler, and the pump and everything else that goes with it, which I think he has over here somewhere. Where'd you put that pump? I don't know where it's all at. There it is.
That's a
that's a fuel pump.
That's a fuel. Oh yeah, I got a whole.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, we're also upgrading fuel system. Yeah, so this is the water pump that's going to pump air through water through the air to water intercooler that's down below here. So we're going to still do some draining and get all that taken care of, and then we'll start pulling that thing out. Time for an update. So this is what it looks like in a GMC Typhoon after you pull the radiator out and the condenser out. And what we're looking for down there, and Greg is kind of clearing the space for, is the pump that circulates the coolant system for the intercooler, which he just unplugged. There's 4 bolts, and that's the lower heat exchanger, which has seen some better days. We definitely need to try to get that heat out of there.
Oh yeah,
because that bracket looks like we need to give it some
attention.
Yeah,
no, that bracket is...
It's not Noah Sueno.
It's not bracketing anymore.
It's really not.
We may have to
buy one.
Something with this.
Yeah. May have to sandblast that and paint it. You might be at a stopping point.
I know what some people do is they just relocate this somewhere else.
Oh, yes, you could, but...
Yeah. They put it, I think, on the fender.
Oh, okay.
Right here, whenever, because
or
we could run the hoses back.
Oh, that'd be all
right. Down and because it keeps the heat out.
That makes sense. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, like on the registry, there's a good, there's
good ride out for it,
and a lot of people put it there.
Well, shoot.
So you have easy access to it if
maybe
it fails.
We don't care about that bracket.
Yeah, so I'm not worried about it because we can get around it.
Okay.
If needed, but.
So what's this doing here? It looks like it's doing a lot.
That's the oil cooler.
Oh, okay.
I think oil or Power steering?
Power steering, or one or the other?
One of the two. It doesn't look like whatever. Seems very useless.
GM engineers thought that was a good idea, Greg. Don't you? How dare you?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. And where are the bolts at? Do you get them from this side or you get them from underneath?
There's 4 underneath. There's 4 right. I think they're like 15 or 17 mils.
Okay.
Or 16.
So then it just kind of comes out.
And then the whole thing drops out.
Nice. Where's the return?
Here's I think this is the return back.
Oh, okay. So it came out of the pump.
It's coming out of the pump. And
Pump is
pumping.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's either pumping up or pulling. One of the two. I don't know.
I'm
not sure.
Okay. Oh, I see the other one too. Okay.
Yeah, this one goes. Yeah, the other one's right here.
And it just goes onto a neck in the heat exchanger. Where's your other heat exchanger?
The other one's in the back.
Show you what we're working with. So this is what we're replacing. Now this is an aftermarket one that has got some more capacity to it.
Here's the brackets for it.
And the brackets
I got it a long time ago. I think it came off of. I think his name was Dean's truck. He was well known on the boards.
Nice. So a couple fittings.
Yeah, it's a little bit different because it's one on each side here.
Right.
But
and this must be the bottom. So so that it'd be our best interest to go ahead and relocate that pump. Okay, and then
that thing it kind of bolts on like that or whatever the angle is.
And then it bolts to the factory 4 holes on the. Okay.
On the frame. And then
Sweet.
Here's the things for the coolant. I mean, this is connected, but
right, it doesn't matter. Sweet. Perfect. Well, there you go.
Is that normal?
No, I don't think so. All right. Well, you got it out, huh? Yeah, it's not bad. Just 4 bolts, like you said.
Yeah, it's just 4 bolts.
Petcock there.
Petcock here.
So we're not using that anymore because we're using the
No,
other
this whole thing is done.
Okay. Somebody somewhere might want it.
Thanks.
So is that stuff that's coming off, is that just horsepower or what is that?
That's horsepower.
Nice.
Weight reduction.
Yeah, so the other exchanger's quite a bit different. You don't need this to ram the air in there?
I think I may try to source another one. This one's not. I don't think this one's savable.
I don't think so either. Not with all that stuff that's coming off of it. It's so soft.
Yeah, it was.
It's not good. His truck came from Minnesota. Greg bought it from up there. And he's had it for quite a long time. But the salt got to things.
I don't know. It might be all right.
We may have to take it to get it sandblasted.
Yeah. Gotta take it to time. I mean, up here is where it's kind of bad, but
well, we can probably
I think this
fix
is
that with some
savable.
sheet metal.
Honestly, I think this is actually savable.
Cool. That's the only thing that I'm looking at is it directs air straight into it. You see the coils?
It helps. Yeah, it's got the shroud.
I don't know if the other one's too big for it, which that might be true. No,
it puts it
in the same spot.
Yeah, it will. I don't know. I gotta double check. I gotta read up on it because I bought it years ago. But it's supposed to be direct bolting.
All right.
No, it's because it's got its own bracket, so I don't think we use this.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I think it just sits. But I got the scoop.
Oh, you do have the scoop. He does have a
I got the
scoop down there. Well, you already told. Did you take it off?
Yeah, it's down. It's hanging down.
Well,
whatever. We'll figure it out.
Well, at least that's out. So, kind of figure out next steps from there. Is the motor ready to come out yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ready
for the extraction.
For the LS swap, 2-wheel drive modification.
Yeah, that's what we need to do. Let's put it back up further in the firewall too. Let's cut up the firewall a little bit, pull the AC out of it.
Yeah.
Look at the little bitty turbo. He's so cute. But these are the intercooler lines that Greg is getting rid of. He's got a set of silicone lines in here somewhere. I don't know where they're at, but we're going to be rerouting some things. Next to come off pretty soon is going to be the oil cooler. He's got to jack the truck up and stuff to be able to get to that, but we're going to be probably doing some blasphemy there. This stuff leaks like a sieve. It's leaked forever. This spots here are from the remote oil cooler, which is it's a four-wheel drive S10 GMC's what is it, a Sonoma and Jimmy and Blazer thing. When they have four-wheel drives, they relocate the oil filter, which we're not sure why, because there's still room under here, because you can just run a shorter oil filter. But this one leaks like a sieve, so we're going to be hacking those off with a hacksaw and pulling all that out and deleting that whole system, which is kind of overdue to do. So we're going to be working on that. But while Greg's kind of doing what he's doing, I'm working on the Nova, because I got some parts in. I got the whole kit to redo this disc brake kit on the Nova. So here's the old booster, here's the new booster. I've measured these two things to make sure that they're equivalents. I'm about to throw this guy on here so I can start kind of looking at everything else while I step on some bubble wrap. Shop's a little bit of a mess, so we're going to be working on that. But let me throw the brake booster on and then kind of go from there. Quick tip too. I went ahead and cleaned all these threads because this is such a pain in the butt to get to. If you guys remember the last video I was working on this stuff with, that I need to be able to try to get them as tight by hand as possible before we wrench them down, and there's just not a lot of room. So I went ahead and cleaned them all up best I could. I'm gonna try to find some PV Blaster, which I thought I had some somewhere. Put that on it too, just to help everything kind of go on a little easier. How about a Sunday update? There's a lot going on. And even though you have everything removed, there's still a lot going on.
Yeah, this is like a spaghetti mess.
Yep. I mean, and it's all old 90s brittle wiring, so you gotta be careful with it.
Yeah.
Is that map sensor?
Yeah, that's the map.
All right.
This is IAT map.
So you're working on marking the distributor?
Stuff. Yeah, I marked it.
That's good. Okay. Well, that'll be good. You need to mark the housing. Yeah. Well, not necessarily. Yeah. As long as you know where the
ignition module is back towards the wall.
Yeah.
Right there.
As long as you kind of get that the same, that'll be good. Dang, dude. Pulling this thing down.
Nope.
I already got the AC evaporator core replaced. What about the heater core?
That's from the inside.
That you have to do it on the inside?
Yeah.
So yeah, Greg's getting a lot done.
That's kind of a bitch job.
Is it?
Yeah.
We'll hold off on a little while.
I mean, it needs to be done. So.
Well, you're making great progress. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have air conditioning eventually. That'd be nice.
Little by little, it's going to be done.
Are these are all cleaned, right, or no?
No, I got to take these off and clean them.
Okay. Because I know you put them back on, but maybe just to keep them in place. So we got to clean all the lines.
I got to clean this line, and then there's the other one.
Cool. Making progress. So we're still going to do, he's going to replace the injectors. He's going to change the distributor. Just a lot of wear and tear items. We put a bunch of old compressor parts through the AC system, so we're going to try to do that again. And then all the cooling stuff. So we're in new transmission cooler, new what's the thing for the AC? The condenser. A new radiator, electric fans. Got a lot going on. He's killing it. So he just pulled the upper intake off for the throttle body, which is, you know, LT1 style throttle body. And then last night I fought this thing for about 2 hours trying to get the pedal hooked up for the brake pedal. Note to self, for anybody else that's doing it, pull the seat out, because then you can just lay back underneath it and try to get up under there and get it done. But I was stubborn and I didn't do that for a long time, but we got it done. But yeah, that's just a little update. We just got a lot going on right now and trying to include you guys in the mix of it a little bit, and glad we're knocking stuff out. Dude, you're making good progress.
I just hope I can put it back together.
Me too. Jeebus. Happy Monday. I've been working all day in the house at work. Greg's been out here dismantling some more, and if you can see, we put the what is this thing? It's a Typhoon. We put it on the cradles, so it's way up in the air, and he went after it, and then he pulled the, what was this thing? The remote oil filter out, which was a giant pain in the butt. He was telling me about it, and the parts are gone. Well, I was going to show you the remnants, but they're gone. Long story short, he's made a lot of progress on here, able to get underneath the truck, kind of evaluate things and see what we're working with and see what needs to be replaced. And that's what he's doing now, is he's doing the great internal struggle of how far do we go? Do we stop here? Or do we go further and do the timing chain? Or do we go further and do the suspension and do a whole bunch of stuff? So he's in limbo, and I don't blame him, because now that he's in it, there's a lot of might as wells. So since we're here, yeah. We're also finding out that this fender is not much of a fender anymore. It's pretty bad. But yeah, that's the tie. It's the update on the tie. This video is nothing but a bunch of updates. Sorry, we're not like full on going after things. I got all the wiring, no, not wiring, but the brake lights plumbed for the Nova. Everything's just kind of loose now. I had to make these two lines. This is basically going back to the setup of a 68 Nova. And I say that because it is a 68 Nova, but I had a 69 Camaro master cylinder on it, which swapped reservoirs. The rear on that one was the front brakes, and the front was the rear. And this is, I don't know if it's an equal chamber, but this is now the rear brake here. It goes back to this distribution block of sorts, proportioning valve, whatever it is. And I was able to use the factory line here that goes into the block. This is a front brake line. This is a front brake line. And going into this piece here is my line lock. So I had to come from the master cylinder to the line lock. Otherwise, this would have just went straight to this thing right here. So from master cylinder to the line lock out to the, I don't know, I'm guessing this is the proportioning valve. I'm not exactly sure, but I had to make those two lines. They're set up. I got everything mocked up. Now I'm ready to bleed the master cylinder and then bleed the brakes. And then we should be done with the Nova and we'll go for a little ride. What are you playing with?
Nothing. Oh, the distributor.
Oh, the distributor. Oh, looks fun. Well, anyway, that's a Monday update. Weather's not looking great for this weekend, so we'll see what happens. I may not even make it to the swap meet, so we'll follow up on that in the next video. And let me take all this stuff off and get this master cylinder bench bled, throw it back on, bleed the brakes, and then we'll go for a ride. Last update. Here we go. All right, so the Typhoon. The upper plenum is back on. New injectors are in. We put a new distributor in. We got Greg basically got all the top end of the intake done. So we still have quite a bit to do here. And I believe the parts may be put up, but let me go look. If I don't trip and kill myself, but I don't see it. But he bought a really nice brand new radiator. It's a factory radiator, but a real nice dual fan setup with Spall fans. So we're going to be putting that on here in a little while. We got the that's the air to water intercooler, or heat exchanger they would call it, mounted. If you look in there, let's see if I can get y'all there. A couple fans on it. So we're going to be running 4 different fans on this guy with a controller. So we still have some parts to order. We're also going to be upgrading the alternator. We're going to put a new timing chain on it, so that'll be coming off here in a little bit. But other than that, bunch of hoses and things to that extent. We're going to run different trans lines because this is actually a crossover exhaust tube, and the trans lines run right by it, and just we kind of want to get that up and out of the way, and kind of, you know, we got a bunch of stuff to kind of clean up. This, you know, just stuff that, you know, this truck has 100 something thousand miles on it. I don't know if it's 30 or 40, but it's got quite a bit of miles on it, but it's always ran pretty well. But over the last couple of years, it hasn't ran really well, and then all the sitting because we were waiting on the cladding. You know, that's just kind of par for the course. So got a lot of upgrades. Not a lot of performance upgrades, just maintenance, cooling, drivability upgrades. It's going to be great. We're also going to be pulling this big useless ABS block out because it's not going to do us any good. They actually say it actually stops better without this big ABS module, so we're going to be deleting that. So still quite a bit of work to do on the Typhoon, but Greg got a ton done, a ton. So that's awesome. And next time I'm going to try to be a little bit more involved with everything that's going on. I know this is kind of just like an update of working on 2 projects at once, which is not usually our style, but let me know if you think it works. You know, let me know if you're happy to see the Typhoon back on the channel, getting ready to be back on the road. So that's so cool. The Nova, as you can see, it's moved. It was over there. Now it's right here, and everything's done. I do think I'm going to have to make one line, as this one right here is continuing to kind of leak a little bit, which that doesn't help me out any. But everything else is dry. There's no other issues with leaking as far as that goes. So one of the things that you guys did not see, and I'll show you there and there and over here, is when I went to move it so I could get it out in the front yard and you know, just kind of test the brakes. You barely touched the pedal and it locked up the rear brakes big time. So I was like, great, what's wrong? And I kind of did some digging on the internet trying to figure out if I had done something wrong, and then I had the epiphany that that pedal was real hard, real high. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? It's probably, there's an adjustment on the clevis that attaches to the brake line, and it probably was too far out. It's not exactly the same part as the factory part, so I needed to do some adjusting. So yesterday I got in it and I tightened in that clevis, which made it go towards the firewall, which essentially made that push rod shorter, which allowed it to come back further and let that air bleed off of those back brakes, or not air, but pressure bleed off those back brakes. And guess what? It stops now. So it got a bath day before yesterday, or day before yesterday. And we've got a small break in the weather here, so let's go for a test drive. What do you think? Showing me that I really eventually need to get a TKX 5-speed and lower the gear in it, because if you don't know, this thing has 456 gears in it, obviously not factory. I'm doing 40-ish at 2300 RPM. So yeah, definitely need that to update before I can drive this car a whole lot. I do want to drive this car one day on Sick Week or Rocky Mountain Race Week or Drag Week or something, but that's in the future, because I just think that would be fun. Obviously I'm not going to win any classes. I would get in the stick shift class, because this is a stick shift, and then have fun with it. But woo, that pedal feels so good. Last time I drove this car, the pedal did not feel good. So oh yeah, it's a little slick out, so I can't really give her too many beans. Definitely test the brakes, and that's awesome. It feels great. It was very sketchy the last time I drove this car, so I'll take what I can get. Yeah, it's about 50 miles an hour at 2800 RPM. Highway cruiser, it is not, but it'll pull the wheels a little bit. I've got videos to show it. If you don't know it, you can go back and look at them on the channel. But yeah, this is great. The car is drivable again. I think I had an issue kind of going down slowly for a long time on that old master cylinder and brake booster combo. That master cylinder was just leaking inside that brake booster, causing issues. And I knew that last time I drove this thing, it was time to park it and figure that out. So there's definitely a couple more things I want to do to the Nova. One of the things is that I kind of have a wiring spaghetti mess going on, not only underneath the dash from the factory wiring, because when I was under there working on the brake pedal you could tell, but also I've got an MSD ran and and a line lock and a limiter, and I don't like the way they ran, so I'm gonna eventually clean all that up and show you guys that, because that's one thing I do take a lot of pride in is trying to keep wiring and stuff clean. So it's hard to say. It's hard to see it until I do it, so we'll kind of go from there. But I think we're golden. I think we'll be able to drive this car a bit now, so that will be awesome. I think this is one of the more liked cars on the channel. Y'all let me know what y'all's favorite is. And all right, we will see y'all when we get back to the house. Well, there you go. One car is back on the road that has been off the road for a little bit of time. I'm glad to have this guy up and running again. This guy, I would kind of like to do a little quick alignment on it so I can drive it a little bit. It's going to be just a little while till we can really get after this thing on the plans that we want to do. And if you don't know, this is my 63 Bel Air that I've had probably for, oh man, almost 10 years now. So it's a great car. It just needs a lot of work. It's hard to work on more than one thing at once. So that's what you're finding out in this video. But yeah, the Nova's back done. The Sonoma's kind of just chilling, ready to go. Typhoon is finally getting some love, you know, and I couldn't be happier of that. So Greg will be surely happy to have this thing back on the road. It's been off for too long, and we actually really enjoy driving it. The Dakota has some interesting things going on, and let me show you guys that real quick. I'm gonna put this guy in neutral. Is it neutral? Yeah, that's neutral. All right. And if you listen, I don't know if you guys can hear it or not, but we're gonna push it forward a little bit. Yeah, the brakes are dragging. Does that have anything to do with what happened the other day? I don't know. I don't know. Could it be down on power because the emergency brakes are dragging? Maybe. I need to get underneath it and loosen up the tension on the cable for the brakes. See if that does anything. I also got a couple parts for it, so I'll be working on that this weekend. So, other update is we're not going to the swap meet, and I wanted to kind of film that for you guys, but weather's gonna suck. It's already actually kind of starting to suck today. As you saw in the video with the car ride, it's a little gray outside, and we've got a pretty big front coming in, so I decided I'm not loading up everything to get wet and then bring it home wet. So I'm skipping the swap meet. I might go out there and say hi to my friends and things like that, but that's probably about it if they're still going. So all right, well, thanks for coming along. I know this was a little bit of a different video. Let me know if you like this kind of quick shot update style, because sometimes you just can't work on one thing. You got to get two things done at once, and makes it a little bit more difficult to film everything. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. We have all kinds of stuff going on. We've got even more cars that are not in the shop that we do a couple things with, and we'd love to have you hanging out with us. So please consider subscribing and hanging out with us. If you already are a subscriber, we're like 20 away from 5,000, which is awesome. You guys are just the best, and we couldn't appreciate you guys more. And yeah, I hope it's going to be a great rest of 2024, and I hope you guys hang out with us when we do it. So, all right, I'll see y'all later. I'm gonna go shut it down, edit this video up, and get it out to y'all tomorrow morning. So until next time, you know the deal. Y'all be good.